Nelly said that the D.O.C. is the biggest what if ever in hip hop.
I agree.
And I 100% agree.
I agree.
With it.
Yeah.
Is there anybody that we're missing? I can't see anybody that would have been a bigger what if.
I mean, just because of who I am, and I like to just stir the pot.
Oh man,
Kid Hood.
What?
See, I don't even know who
I don't
Kid
even know
Hood
who Kid
is.
He was on the Scenario remix. That
Nah.
was the first verse.
Nah,
Kid Hood was about to get him.
he doing
I
too. He
don't
going
know.
too many levels. Terry, he doing too much
Yeah,
now.
I don't know about that.
No. Lone, who are we missing, man? You can go
No,
underground.
I mean, no, I'm serious. Like, it really was.
Is it?
It
But
really
I,
is-
But I
is
feel like we
D.O.C.
know a lot of dope artists
I-
that have been on the
D.O.C. was
underground.
instrumental in the Chronic too. He wrote on that album.
The only
Facts.
other what ifs are really, unfortunately, people that have passed away,
Passed away.
like Big
Big
L.
L.
And I would even throw Nipsey on there because I feel like he was hitting his stride.
Hey,
I like Nipsey. I
Like,
like
'cause
Big L.
this is
Victory Lap was crazy.
Victory Lap is an undeniably classic album.
Because
That album's
front to back.
Because right about now is when we should have been getting another Nipsey album.
We probably would have been on damn near 3 by now.
You know what, you're right. Because
or at least, an album in a mixtape or so.
Yeah.
No, I think he'd been like, no, I ain't giving y'all no mixtapes. You got to buy this.
Yeah, because he had got nominated for a Grammy.
Yeah.
His foot was on the gas, literally, on Victory Lap.
I mean, like,
Lone, do you think there's anybody on the underground scene that I'm talking about that has not passed? Someone that's still, just something happened where they fell out or they just stopped making
Cannabis?
music or no, don't do that. Don't do that.
Cannabis's album wasn't what.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that.
The D.O.C.'s album.
Not
was.
even close.
No.
Not even close.
I don't know. It's hard.
that-
It's hard to have this conversation about people that still have the ability to do stuff. Like
That's fair.
the D.O.C. lost his voice, right?
Yeah.
Nipsey died.
Which goes into the heavily.
I could say Mac Miller. Mac would probably be
Ooh,
making.
that's a good
He'd
one.
probably be making incredible music now as well.
That's a good one. That's a good
But-
one.
But he at least had a good run.
He did.
Mac had
a really
4 or
good run.
5 really good albums.
He did.
True.
D.O.C. had 1.
That's what I mean. So it's like, but I don't think we can have this conversation outside of people that had unfortunate Sir, Blue in Exile. Blue's first album that he put out was amazing.
That's true.
His follow-ups have been good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But they haven't been spectacular. And
They called lightning in a bottle.
they
with
did.
That,
and that's not to take away from
Below the
Blue.
Heavens.
That's not to take away from Blue.
No, he's still nice.
He's still nice. He's still making good music, but I'm just using that as an example because they came out so strong and
Right.
he hasn't been able to keep up that momentum in that kind of hierarchy growth, that we would like to see.
It's almost unfair because he started at such a high,
For sure.
playing with Exile. Like it's hard to get up there
Yeah.
to where they were.
I mean,
You know
don't
what
get
I'm
me
saying?
wrong, and I liked his follow-up. I liked New York, even though it was super different. I liked the other stuff that he's done so much work. I like his Crash Knuckles stuff that he did with 𝗏𝗏 from Detroit that nobody really knows about. But, but shouts to them. But I don't know. I just don't feel like this conversation is something that we can really have unless there's like
I really
something
can't think of
unfortunate.
nobody other than
I
D.O.C.
can't.
that
I'm trying
like
to
that
think.
happened
Yeah.
to.
I mean, I remember, because I was just, I had so much energy for Yo MTV Raps back in the day. I remember when the D.O.C. was on and they had a whole show called Tragedy of a Lyricist,
Oh, man.
about
Yeah.
him losing his voice
Yeah.
because they were still shooting videos, for No One Can Do It Better. Because it's like, okay, well, he doesn't have to promote him live, but we can still promote the record. But it was just like, and you got to understand, D.O.C. didn't cuss on that record.
No, he didn't.
At all.
He didn't cuss on
Here's
that
the
record.
crazy thing.
And it was that was the hardest record out. He didn't
Yeah.
cuss on it. The only cussing on that record was on the grand finale
Yeah.
when NWA
That had
got that.
NWA on it.
And that was the last appearance Cube made on anything Ruthless related.
Go ahead, Lon. What were you gonna say?
I wouldn't even really know about the D.O.C. if it wasn't for this podcast.
Really?
I mean, I have heard of him,
not like that.
But I missed the D.O.C.
Right.
wave, right?
Like I was there in real time, so I understand why that's a conversation.
And
to
the
be
fact
had.
that all three of you guys and so many other people since we've talked about it have mentioned the D.O.C. in such high regards. I'm like, oh, this must have been a thing, but flew right up. Like again, I've heard his name, but I didn't listen to anything,
I remember the first time
so I missed it. So I guess that kind of makes your point, right? That
Man, I'm telling you, bro. Like I remember seeing the Formula video when Dre had the
How he
Doctor's
starts that
coat
is
on and
high energy.
like all of that, and like he was in the lab working on him and all that type of stuff.
man.
And I remember being like, "Yo, who is this dude?"
No,
beat
when-
was fire. He was going
That
off.
was fire.
Oh, is that beat?
Yeah.
Okay, I know that beat.
No, I remember when Funky Enough.
Funky Enough
Yeah,
is
Funky
crazy.
Enough.
Because that was the first single. It was wild.
Silvers.
I see you.
Foster Silvers.
And what's really crazy
see
about
you.
because he raps that almost in a Jamaican patois, and I heard him tell the
That's
story.
the patois.
He said,
Don't do that.
He said, "Look, man, I ain't gonna lie. I did that song when I was drunk. That's why when you listen to the rest of the album, I don't rap like that for anything else on the rest of the
He
album."
said that on Funky Enough. That he did that on Funky Enough.
Yeah, he was drunk when he did that.
I've never heard that
went
story.
off.
And then the next album was the D.O.C. and the Doctor.
Yeah.
Which had the crazy like because the video version is a little bit different because it had this crazy guitar interludes and these horns that Dre put in. That was one of my favorite records, videos, everything at that time. And then I think it was the Formula, and then I went Mind
Formula
Blowing.
was crazy.
Yeah, mind blowing.
So yeah, it was just crazy. Like his run,
He had a nice run.
he had. This is the thing when everything was. Of course, hip hop has always been very much single based. He had 4 super strong singles, and the thing is, he probably had 2 or 3 more records
that could have gone as
that
singles.
could have gone as singles.
The whole NWA Ice Cube situation could have went a lot different if the D.O.C. hadn't been in that accident.
That's a good point.
So,
The
Just
Gobinator,
think what side D.O.C. would have been on, you know?
you already know.
Yeah.
The Gobinator says Lauryn Hill just won out solo album. Nate Jeezy gonna be so mad.
Yeah, maybe.
Talk to me, Lone.
Maybe.
You took
I
a-
mean, again, it's hard to have that stance from
But she's
somebody.
still here and
She's
she has
here.
the ability.
She had the chance.
She
to.
just
She
didn't do it.
Yeah,
Okay, okay.
like. But
She just got lazy.
I feel like people wanted
and
it from her.
complacent.
People wanted it from her for a long. Imagine if Kanye West would have not rapped after Through the Wire.
Right.
Because of
College
that.
dropout, yeah.
You know what I mean? It would have been something like
There's
that.
That's why
always-
people were so excited when she was featured on Nas's album.
Yeah.
Which she
She
killed.
did
by the way.
one
That
verse
feature
and
was
everybody,
fire.
oh my God, she went off.
But I agree. I like the point that you speak to where you say for the people that are still here, it's on them to continue, or put the effort.
Your DLC
there to
couldn't do it.
continue. He couldn't.
I mean,
do
if we're gonna have a conversation about artists, we think we don't know why they have bigger.
that's different.
That's a different conversation.